I love him.
Why?
Yeah, just because he gave me my opportunity. I wouldn't even be here, babe.
Have you ever had any kind of an issue with Eminem?
No, never with him.
Never with him, yeah.
Because he's done everything for me.
What happens to the most paranoid survivor in hip-hop? Discover who his biggest...
I have a very clear memory of the first time I met 50. One of the things I noticed when he first walked into the room was his presence, right? Because it just kind of felt like he's gonna be a star.
Blackballed by the industry after being shot 9 times recently.
Why did the guy shoot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
To meet Eminem, 50 Cent took a plane to Los Angeles. While one promised camaraderie, the other dreaded betrayal. An empire would be...
Did you ever run into situations where people attempted to blackball you during your career and you ran into and they exposed who done it?
In 850 Cent's life looked like a battlefield. By the dawn of 2002, 50 Cent had been shot 9 times outside his grandmother's home in Southside Jamaica, Queens, 3 years prior.
Karma. Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, you was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Man, you are tough.
In addition, the music industry treated 50 Cent like he was radioactive, even though he survived to tell the tale. Promoters avoided him, Columbia Records cut ties with him, and radio stations refused to play his music. In the meantime, he was being vigorously pursued by his competitor Yahoo and the Men of Murder Inc. They are accused of having black child.
The story was that black child stabbed him?
Well, that could be the story. I don't like to talk like that, Fly. Because, a lot of things happen when them lights went out.
What?
I got hit with a speaker. 50 through the speaker. I got hit with a speaker.
Cent kept working and avoiding the spotlight in spite of all of these setbacks. He stopped there in Canada and made the decision to start afresh. While trying to return to his career, he also had to deal with the paranoia that followed his near-death experience. The well-known bulletproof comes into play here. After seeing prominent rappers like Biggie and Tupac die, 50 didn't want to be spotted sliding for the...
You wear a bulletproof vest now most of the time, I believe.
Yeah, in the States, just because I've been shot myself, and I've seen Tupac and Biggie Small situation where all their wounds were inflicted in areas that would have prevented their death if they had...
Yeah, because it's mainly the body shots here.
Eminem, on the other hand, was at the height of his fame. In Detroit, in its first week of release, the Marshall Mathers LP sold roughly 2 million copies. But rather of unwinding, he continued to listen to mixtapes by unidentified musicians in an attempt to meet someone fresh and unique. 50 Cent's mixtape, Guess...
You got in the business with Eminem, right? Did he discover you or something?
Yeah, Eminem, he had got his hands on a copy of a mixtape that I put out through my attorneys, Theo Stedemeyer. Paul Rosenberg is Eminem's representation, and they have a relationship, so that's how he got the CD.
...to Los Angeles shortly after. It was not only a big risk, but it was also a big deal. Due to the ongoing hostility between him and other industry people, LA wasn't exactly a safe environment for him at the time. Still, 50 went. To avoid being picked up by metal detectors, he took the ceramic shot plate out of the bulletproof vest he'd been wearing since he was shot.
I was so bugged out from the experience that I came through the airport with the vest. I'm lucky I took the shot plate out the front of the joint because when I came through, it didn't, but the lawyer that I had with me that took me to him
was a little taken aback when Eminem gave him an embrace. When they eventually met in person, there was only a genuine moment of respect with no lengthy or theatrical remarks. And that meant something to 50, following everything being shot, having his label dismissed, and being pursued by others. He had never been used to being accepted without making judgment.
Yo, this is gonna be the biggest, right? He's like, yo, I'm so excited, that it made me question whether what was happening was right. Because I just wasn't so used, it felt so good that it couldn't be right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, nah.
Ultimately, 50 was concerned about his safety in Los Angeles and believed the invitation was a hoax, orchestrated by the well-known MTV program Punk'd.
When he first got with you.
It was wild. It felt like...
How did it happen?
Remember that show that had Punk'd on MTV?
Yeah,
I thought they had cameras and it was going to come out and say, you've been
Where was
punked.
y'all at? What city was y'all at?
I was in California. You flew me to LA, right?
Met with Dr. Dre and Eminem in a matter of days. Everything happened so fast. Eminem began rapping the lyrics of Guess Who's Back to 50 in the room after listening to it and becoming a major fan. It was on after that. Soon after they began collaborating, Get Rich or Die Trying was created. 50's fame came from more than just the record. It blew up. However, 50 didn't unwind even as his star grew. He kept up his routine. The bulletproof vest was still on. He continued to pretend like he was braced for the worst. It was not just a 1950s mentality. Eminem and others in his immediate vicinity were particularly impacted. As Jay-Z subsequently recalled, Eminem and Jay-Z collaborated on Moment of Clarity in 2003, which M eventually produced. When Slim Shady initially showed up at the studio, according to Jay, he was wearing a bulletproof vest. I remember hugging him when he came to the studio, and I could feel that he had on a bulletproof vest. Jay stated in an interview with Interview magazine, "I never thought I would be this successful." He wants to succeed throughout his career because...
And that dark cloud Jay was talking about was problems from beef from certain people in the industry and out in the streets. And like 50, M was also making a lot of enemies back in the day, and one of them, Ja Rule, 50's longtime nemesis. Now, everyone knows how Ja and 50's been beefing for the longest, even before Eminem came into the picture. But M just stayed in the background and focused on the music. But all of that changed real fast when Ja Rule crossed the line and named Eminem's daughter Haley in a diss track titled Loose Change.
Your mouth, shut up, Em. You claim your mother's a crackhead and Kim is a known slut. So what's Haley gonna be when she grows up? Murder! Y'all know what it is. Murder! Y'all know what it is.
And it just needs this. The beef M currently has is from the 1950s. Eminem responded with a string of shit songs called Ray Me Bully. It was an obvious message. It's war if you raise his child. Eminem ultimately emerged victorious. His teasing was more powerful. He remained a celebrity. Jay's career then began to go apart. In actuality, though, Eminem was already familiar with this. Even if he wasn't the one who initiated, he was accustomed to taking over people's fights. As was the case with Dr. Dre, Eminem received more than simply a competent instructor when he's
in LA. During the whole East Coast, West Coast beef between New York and LA and between Death Row and Bad Boy, and M had inherited Dr. Dre's beef by signing with Dre. M was now the prodigy of Dr. Dre.
Suge wasn't exactly observing from the sides when Dre left Death Row and began collaborating with Aftermath to create something new. He detested the thought of Dre thriving without him. The fact that Dre had discovered a new golden boy who was the talk of the town only made
Suge didn't like that. Dre getting back on, got this white rapper that's ended up being the best rapper in the... Suge had a problem with it. He was like, you know what? That kid need to be with us over at Death Row.
Suge desires control, or at least the ability to do so. And at the 1999 Source Awards, that tension pervaded the atmosphere. A number of Death Row employees went straight to Eminem and gave him a message on Sugi's behalf.
M was walking to his seat, I'm standing up to the side, and M was cut off on his way to his seat, and all these guys in red shirts surrounded him. And I'm looking at M's face, and I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, something ain't right. So I started making my way around to come up the aisle, and next thing I know, you see all these guys talking about Death Row, Death Row, Death Row, Death Row. So by the time I cut in, I step in front of M, I push the guys back. I'm like, yo, what the f going on here, man? He said, Death Row, this Death Row about, this Death Row life. I was like, Death Row, what's it got to do with him?
Since Breakout Singles music video was shot in a club in 2003, the tone reappeared. So reappeared physically this time, accompanied by a crew, and made his imprint. It went beyond simply exposing one's face. He was obviously there to tell Dre.
I remember the time, actually, it's funny because he showed up in the club video. He came, it was like, Suge's outside, Suge's outside. Everybody like, he was running, dropping shit, like, man, everybody going, I'm in front of the camera like this.
But Eminem defended his people before there was any actual violence. He didn't let Dre or 50 handle it. By stepping in, he challenged Sugi's intensity and made it plain that he could not be coerced or bullied.
He just lights the cigar, and it's the Suge. He light the cigar, and he trying to see what you gonna do. So Eminem, 50, everybody outside, light the cigar. I was bugging because I seen, this is when I knew Eminem was real. He's like, don't give a f, man. This is when I knew, I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real, these things. 50's outside, what's up? And then Suge just walked away. The Mexicans looked kind of confused, like they didn't know what was going on. But it came outside. Eminem came outside 100%. Oh, what did I miss?
And Eminem will continue to have a solid friendship even if they decide to quit wearing the bulletproof vest. That was made clear when Eminem, a lifelong friend and colleague, made an appearance at the 2020 50s Hollywood.
So check it out. Of all the things that I don't remember about 2002, I have a very clear memory of the first time I met 50. And I think one of the things I noticed when he first walked into the room was his presence, right? Because it just kind of felt like he's gonna be a star. Like just the way he carried himself, swagger, everything. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like he was the whole package.
When the 2022 Super Bowl halftime concert was revealed, further demonstrated his commitment. It appears that 50's appearance on the show was opposed by ROC Nation, which has been in charge of the NFL's live music entertainment. There was reportedly backstage opposition and attempts to keep 50 off the stage despite his legacy and hit.
They said because Yayo said that Jay hated on you too, like he didn't want you as part of the. Is that true though?
Yeah, but it's not a big deal. You know what it is?
What was the reasoning though? Like what would he tell Dre?
I think it's competing or being competitive, and the music is getting past music itself with that. Because I'm like, what are you trying to do?
But Eminem would have none of it. He made it plain that he would not be performing unless 50 was included as soon as he learned about the issue. He didn't try to compromise or provide a tactful suggestion. He got to his feet. The popularity of the show would have suffered greatly if Eminem hadn't been there, especially because Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Dr. Dre have already confirmed M was able to regain his buddies because of his
The white guy called for 50 Cent. So I said, who's the white guy? I'm digging this Jimmy Iovine. And he said, no, Eminem called directly for 50. And he said,
that's his guy.
He said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up.
But that's his guy.